I was born in Brazil and have lived in several places around the world. I will talk a little bit about some of those. And I've been now in Mexico and here specifically in Cuauhtemoc for the past 4 years, a bit over 4 years. And I have a degree in international relations and a master's in peace building. I will also talk a little bit about that. My mom is from a Mennonite colony in Paraguay, and my dad is from Brazil. I have been living here for the past 4 years. I live in the Manitoba colony and have been living around different places, also a little bit in the Swift Current colony. But I do not have family in this area. That's very unusual, I think, for a Mennonite from this area not to have family around here. I came here for work. Yeah. And so that was my connection, my in to coming and living here. But I have found some amazing people who have, quote unquote, adopted me and have welcomed me and made me part of their families here. So, and I work for a company that is also based here in the colonies. My only connection before coming here to Mexico was through my family. As I mentioned, my mom grew up in the Fernheim colony in Paraguay. And although I was born and grew up in Brazil in an area where there were no Mennonite colonies and no Mennonites whatsoever, we would go back every other year to visit family. And so my contact would be through these visits of 2-3 weeks of interacting with my cousins and their playmates, all my relatives, aunts and second cousins and grandparents. But I never before moving here, I did not have the experience of living in what it meant to live in a Mennonite community. My first reaction was it was a culture shock. Yeah, it was certainly a culture shock. I had never had the experience of living in a Mennonite community, and the communities in Mexico are obviously very different from the ones in Bolivia, which are very different from the ones in Paraguay, which are very different from the ones in Brazil. There are some there as well, and so although I had contact before, I had never lived in one, and it was very different here. So what stood out at the beginning, of course, were the things that I had a negative impression about, or that shocked me or surprised me, or I found very difficult to deal with. One of those was indirect communication. I have also lived in Germany and lived in the United States, and living in those cultures, I have adopted more of a direct communication style. So if I don't agree with something, or if I have an opinion, or I will express that. I will, of course, in a respectful way, but I will express that opinion, and it was, especially the beginning was very difficult because that I would communicate directly and people would say, oh yes, yeah, okay, yeah. And, but it turns out they would not agree with something, or they had not understood what I was saying, and but would not express that directly to me. And so I would think, okay, we're moving forward, we're doing this, but things would not move forward. Or later I would hear, no, this person is saying this and this about your proposal, and I would be like, well, or suddenly they would blow up and just say it, and I would be like, why didn't you tell me?
Exactly.
Why? And I mean, I realized that it was indirect communication, but that was something that I said, okay, this is a cultural trait. That I find very difficult. I'm not sure how to, okay, this person said this. Are they saying something with that? Am I not capturing it? And so that would also lead to interesting interactions then also with other people, where I would ask, this is going on, this is what was said, or this is what happened, what does it mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And so it turned into an opportunity to get to know a little bit more about the dynamics and what was going on and all of that. What I have learned to appreciate about the culture of the Low German Mennonites here in the Cuauhtemoc area, or in Chihuahua. I mean, it's a very diverse groups, but what I have observed that is common from all of these groups is pragmatism.
Yeah.
Very practical, hardworking, and implementing things. And I have come to appreciate that a lot.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of talking about and false promises, or promises in general, or just ideas in the air, but really, okay, we see a need, let's do something about it. How is this gonna be good for us, and let's just implement it and get it done. And I have really come to appreciate the commitment and the dedication and the pragmatism of, be it from cleaning a house to helping a family in need, and just really going through with it and not talking a lot about it.